Do you think you have a brown thumb and have killed your share of indoor plants? I hear you screaming. I feel your pain and I have done the same. But don't tell anyone. Just between you and me, I found some nifty gadgets that have made my plants so much happier. And my thumb is a lime green now. Stick around and I'll show you my favorites in my gardening toolbox. Hi, I'm Debbie with Lively Root. There are a few essential tools you need in your gardening toolbox to help with that green thumb you're growing. Let's talk about each one and why they're necessary. The moisture meter. You've heard me discuss this one before, but let me reintroduce it to you. It's a 3-in-1 plant meter that takes all the guesswork out of watering, lighting, and your soil's pH. I use it mainly for watering since I tend to love my plants too much by overwatering. To use it, switch the toggle to moisture and stick the probes down into the soil halfway between the plant stems and the pot's edge to where the roots are. It shows a section for low, medium, and high moisture levels. Sometimes I've been surprised by the reading and would have overwatered just by the touch of the soil on top, but discovered it was still very moist at the root level. These are very handy to read the moisture level below the surface where you can't see. I've used my finger in the past for the moisture reading, but my finger's not long enough and I can't get to the roots either. This long probe can go down deep and get close to the roots and give you a better scientific reading. Believe me, this is saving my plants from overwatering. You can find one on our website under soils and fertilizers. I got 2 since I tend to have plants all over my house and I like to spot check throughout the week. I like to keep a hygrometer handy to see if my humidity is too low around my indoor plants, especially in the winter. It tends to get drier inside with heat running. This hygrometer shows me exactly what the moisture content is around my plants. Typically, the humidity for your indoor plants should be between 45 and 55%. Some plants, like ferns, like it higher, so raise your humidity accordingly. We have a helpful blog about raising your humidity levels at livelyroot.com in our plant education section. I create a pebble tray to sit some of my plants that need a bit more humidity around their leaves. I get a clear plastic saucer, remove the stickers, and pick out some pretty glass pebbles or rock and fill the tray up. This way, it will lift the actual plant so it's not sitting in water. Then you can fill the saucer with water and set the plant on the saucer on top of the pebbles. As the water evaporates, it creates more humidity around the plant. I use a mister too to give moisture to the leaves. It's not going to raise the humidity level by degrees, but it does provide the plant temporary moisture. And bonus, it gives you a chance to interact with your plant and give them more TLC than they might otherwise get. And just a hint, if you have your plant sitting on the floor and you want to avoid getting your floors wet from the mist, I use a transparent sheet of 12 gauge vinyl that I cut out large enough to accommodate the space. When I mist them all, I don't worry about the water spilling onto my wood floors. I can vacuum and mop it easily too. I keep my other plants sitting on glass top tables so I can easily wipe up afterwards. A warm or cool mist humidifier comes in handy to raise the level around your plants too. Just make sure you get a large enough one to accommodate the room size. I've made the mistake of getting too small of one and it doesn't raise the humidity levels in my tall ceiling loft. You can always add a whole house humidifier attached to your heating system, which helps you feel better overall in the winter months. And your plants get the humidity they need to thrive. You can even lower your temps a bit because it feels warmer in the winter with more humidity. A watering can is a personal preference in color and shape, but here are a few things I look for when getting one. I like to have one that has a long neck so I can get under the leaves and right down into the crevices of the soil. Sometimes there are tight spaces and the neck helps me get into those spaces. This one has a shower nozzle attachment which allows you to give your plants a shower bath. Also make sure it's the right size for you. Some cans are a bit heavy or not easy to handle, so get the one that fits your hands and is a good weight filled with water so you're not dripping a stream around your house. There are all types of specialty fertilizers. Some are for orchids, African violets, succulents, fiddle leaf figs, and the list goes on. I tend to stick with keeping it simple and using our Foliage Pro, a 936 fertilizer. When you are getting a fertilizer, the numbers indicate how much nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are in each mix. I use a little saying up, down, all around to help me remember what each number does for the plant. Nitrogen helps leafy plants like fiddle leaf figs or monstera with the foliage. Phosphorus aids in the root development, and potassium develops the flowers and the fruits and wards off diseases. Refer to our video on fertilizing plants for more information. If you're planting outdoors, I always use amendments like a soil conditioner to ensure the soil has beneficial microbes. For that, we have John and Bob's Optimized Plus Organic Fertilizer. You would think soil is soil and it's all the same, but no, it is not. Some have more amendments that help with drainage and mimic what you'd find in the wild. For instance, succulents will stay too wet if you use a regular potting mix, so they need a specialized soil mix. If you have African violets, they need their own mix along with orchids, cacti, and palm to do their best. For all the rest, I recommend our Black Gold potting mix. It has several rich organic nutrients in it along with earthworm castings that your plants will love. One last insider secret, please don't call it dirt. Dirt is what is on the bottom of your sheet. Soil is what you plant your plants into. It's not the same. Dirt is nasty. Soil is what your plants dig their tiny little roots into and nestle into the ground and take in nourishment. So to sound knowledgeable with your other plant geeks, always use the term soil instead of dirt. This is how I tell the pros from the cons. How do I know this? I got a big long lecture in soils class in horticulture school when I said it wrong. Talk about turning red with shame. I don't want this to happen to you, so soil it is. If you're like me, you want to make your babies with some of the mother plants you've had for a while. I keep this rooting hormone handy. You sprinkle a little bit on a paper plate and dip the end of the stem into the powder and place it in the potting mix. This has the proper nutrients for rooting. Don't ever dip the stem right into the bottle or you would contaminate the mixture. When I'm repotting, I keep window screen rolled up close by to clip off a piece and fit it into my container. It prevents soil loss or clogging through the drainage holes. I found these bonsai mesh drainage screens already cut out online, but either does the trick. You can use a box lid like I did here, and I taped the openings so that the soil wouldn't escape. And I also have a potting tray that I use when I'm repotting my plants or propagating. There is less mess and I can deposit the leftover soil back into the bag or put any waste into the compost pile. Everyone needs a trowel, whether you're planting outside or inside. It just helps cut into the soil if you're digging or scooping soil into the indoor container. I don't do anything without my garden gloves. I'm sorry, I don't like fishing the soil out from under my nails. And I want to protect my skin too, since some of the plants can irritate your skin. I have several of these in my gardening toolbox. After using, I toss them in the laundry and wash and let air dry. I keep them together by folding them like you do socks and toss them into a basket in my garage to quickly reach for when I'm gardening. I have several of these pocket snips I keep all over the house to grab and prune when I see a dead leaf or a flower that needs pruning. I try always to prune my plants each time I water and mist them. The clippers are handy and the correct size to do minor tidying up. I keep neem oil around to guard against pests, fungus, and mites. It is a natural plant-based product that you can mix with water in a spray bottle if you have the concentrate. It can control overwintering eggs of some insect types. I recommend spraying in the early morning to minimize any leaf burn. Keep your plants out of direct sunlight during and after application until it dries. You can use this on your indoor plants too. The extract comes from the evergreen neem seed kernels, so it's sustainable too. Let us know what your must-haves are in the comments below, and also what's your favorite gardening tool. I have to say mine is a 3-in-1 moisture meter. Big surprise, right? What I wouldn't give for one of these years ago. I hope this gives you an idea of what to put on your shopping list. Shop or gather these items from around your home to keep in your gardening toolbox. Until next time, have a lively day.